What if I told you that the most powerful man in the world, who controlled an empire spanning 3 continents, wrote a personal diary that would become humanity's greatest guide to inner strength? Marcus Aurelius never intended for anyone to read his private thoughts, yet his meditations became the blueprint for unshakable mental resilience. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the 3 core principles from this ancient text that can transform how you handle every challenge in your life. But before we dive deep into the mind of Rome's philosopher emperor, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Why? Because every single day, I break down ancient wisdom that actually works in our modern world. No fluff, no feel-good quotes, just practical philosophy that builds real inner strength. And if you stay until the end of this video, I'll share Marcus Aurelius's secret technique for turning any setback into a stepping stone. Trust me, this one insight alone will change how you see obstacles forever. Picture this. It's 170 AD. Marcus Aurelius is camping on the frozen banks of the Danube River, leading Roman legions against barbarian tribes. He's dealing with plague, rebellion, political betrayal, and the weight of governing 65 million people. Yet every night, by candlelight in his tent, he writes in his personal journal, not about military strategy or political schemes, but about how to maintain inner peace in the midst of chaos. These weren't philosophical essays meant for publication. These were raw, honest conversations with himself about how to stay strong when everything around you is falling apart. The fact that we can read these intimate thoughts today is nothing short of miraculous. And what makes them even more powerful is that they come from someone who wasn't just theorizing about hardship. He was living through it. Now, I promised you 3 life-changing principles from the Meditations, and the first one is so counterintuitive that it might shock you. But stick with me, because by the end of this section, you'll understand why Marcus Aurelius could face any crisis with unshakable calm. The first principle that Marcus Aurelius mastered was this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But here's what most people get wrong about this quote. They think it means you should just think positive or pretend bad things aren't happening. That's not what Marcus meant at all. He was dealing with real problems: wars, plagues, betrayals, the death of children. He wasn't living in denial. What he discovered was something much more profound: the difference between what happens to you and what happens in you. Let me give you a modern example that will make this crystal clear. Imagine you get fired from your job tomorrow. The firing itself is an external event. It happened. It's a fact. You can't change it. But your interpretation of that event, that's entirely within your control. You could see it as proof that you're a failure, that life is unfair, that you'll never succeed. Or you could see it as freedom from a job that wasn't right for you, as an opportunity to find something better, as a chance to start that business you've been dreaming about. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." He understood that most of our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. Here's a practical exercise straight from the Meditations. When something upsets you today, ask yourself, is this within my control or outside my control? If it's outside your control, Marcus would say you're wasting precious mental energy. If it's within your control, then you have the power to do something about it. The emperor faced barbarian invasions, but he couldn't control when or where they attacked. What he could control was his response, his strategy, his leadership, his inner state of mind. This distinction became his superpower. That first principle alone has helped millions of people find peace in chaos. But Marcus Aurelius went deeper. The second principle I'm about to share with you is what separated him from every other leader of his time. And it's the secret to building genuine confidence that no one can shake. Plus, remember, I've got that special technique for turning setbacks into stepping stones coming up at the end. The second principle from the Meditations is what Marcus called the discipline of action. He wrote, "In the morning when thou risest unwillingly, let this thought be present: I am rising to the work of a human being. Why then am I dissatisfied? if I am going to do the things for which I exist and for which I was brought into the world. This isn't just about having a good work ethic. This is about understanding your fundamental purpose as a human being. Marcus believed that we exist to serve something greater than ourselves, to contribute to the common good, to use our unique abilities to make the world better. But here's the revolutionary part. He didn't wait to feel motivated. He didn't wait for inspiration to strike. He understood that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Even when he felt tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed, he got up and did what needed to be done. Think about this. Marcus Aurelius was literally the most powerful person on earth. He could have spent his days in luxury, surrounded by entertainment and comfort. Instead, he chose to lead armies in freezing weather, to wrestle with complex political problems, to make difficult decisions that affected millions of lives. Why? Because he understood that meaning comes from contribution, not consumption. In the Meditations, he reminds himself, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? This is radically different from how most people approach their daily responsibilities. Instead of seeing work as something you have to do to pay bills, Marcus saw it as the arena where you develop character, where you serve others, where you become who you're meant to be. Here's how you can apply this today. Before you start any task, ask yourself, how does this serve something bigger than me? Maybe your job helps customers solve problems. Maybe your parenting shapes the next generation. Maybe your art brings beauty into the world. When you connect your daily actions to a larger purpose, everything changes. Marcus wrote, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. He understood that each day is a chance to start fresh, to choose service over selfishness, contribution over comfort. Now those first two principles, controlling your perceptions and disciplining your actions, these are powerful. But the third principle I'm about to reveal is what made Marcus Aurelius truly unstoppable. It's also the most misunderstood concept in all of Stoicism. And yes, I'm still going to share that secret technique for transforming obstacles. It's coming right after this final principle. The third principle that gave Marcus Aurelius his inner strength was his constant awareness of mortality. Throughout the Meditations, he returns again and again to the reality of death, not in a morbid way, but as a source of clarity and urgency. He wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. And loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Now, most people avoid thinking about death because it makes them uncomfortable. But Marcus understood something profound. When you truly accept that your time is limited, it becomes impossible to waste it on petty concerns, grudges, or meaningless pursuits. Imagine you found out you had exactly 1 year to live. Would you spend it scrolling social media? Would you hold onto that grudge against your family member? Would you stay in a job that crushes your soul? Of course not. You'd focus on what truly matters: relationships, contribution, growth, love. Marcus Aurelius lived every day with this awareness. He wrote, "Remember how brief life is, how vast the universe. What matters most is what you do with the time you have." But here's the key insight. He didn't let this awareness make him pessimistic or fatalistic. Instead, it made him incredibly focused on virtue, on being the best version of himself in whatever time he had left. He wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When someone betrayed him, he didn't waste energy on anger or revenge plots. When faced with difficult decisions, he asked, "What would the ideal version of myself do here?" When dealing with difficult people, he reminded himself, "We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower." This perspective gave him incredible resilience. When his son Commodus turned out to be a disappointment, when trusted advisors betrayed him, when military campaigns went badly, Marcus didn't take it personally. He saw these challenges as opportunities to practice virtue, patience, wisdom, justice, courage. Here's a practical application. Start each day by asking yourself, if this were my last day, how would I want to spend it? What kind of person would I want to be? Then live that day accordingly, not with reckless abandon, but with intentional focus on what truly matters. Marcus wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." He understood that the past is gone, the future is uncertain, but right now, this moment, is where you have the power to choose who you become. Now, I promised you Marcus Aurelius' secret technique for turning any setback into a stepping stone. This comes from one of the most famous passages in all of the meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This isn't just a clever saying. It's a complete reframe of how to approach obstacles. Most people see problems as things that prevent them from reaching their goals. Marcus saw problems as the very path to achieving their goals. Here's how it works. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to develop a specific virtue. Facing criticism? That's a chance to practice patience and humility. Dealing with financial stress? That's an opportunity to develop resourcefulness and gratitude. Experiencing betrayal? That's a chance to practice forgiveness and wisdom. Marcus didn't just endure hardships. He used them as training equipment for his character. He wrote, "The mind that pursues the good, whether it achieves it or not, is honored by the very pursuit." Let me give you a concrete example from his own life. When the Antonine Plague swept through the Roman Empire, killing millions of people, Marcus could have seen it as pure disaster. Instead, he used it as an opportunity to practice compassion, to improve public health systems, to demonstrate leadership under pressure. The plague became the way he developed into a better emperor and a better human being. Here's your action step. Think of the biggest challenge you're facing right now. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What virtue is this obstacle trying to teach me?" Then lean into developing that virtue. The obstacle becomes your teacher, your trainer, your path to becoming stronger. If this breakdown of Marcus Aurelius' inner strength has given you even one insight that you can use in your daily life, please hit that like button. Here's why this matters. When you like this video, you're not just supporting the channel. You're telling YouTube that ancient wisdom still has value in our modern world. You're helping this message reach someone who desperately needs to hear that they have more control over their life than they realize. Now, I want you to comment below with this exact phrase, "I choose my response." That's it. Just those 4 words. Why? Because when you type those words, you're making a commitment to yourself. You're declaring that no matter what happens today, tomorrow, or next week, you will remember that you have power over your mind, that you can choose your response to any situation. And here's something special. If you share this video with someone in your life who's going through a tough time right now, you might just give them the perspective shift they need to find their inner strength. Think about it. Who in your circle of friends or family could benefit from learning that obstacles can become opportunities? Share this with them. Sometimes the most powerful gift you can give someone is a new way of seeing their challenges. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Here's my promise to you. Every single day, I'll bring you practical wisdom from history's greatest minds. No fluff, no feel-good platitudes. Just real insights that you can apply immediately to build genuine inner strength and resilience. And here's what I want you to do after you finish watching this video. Come back in 1 week and leave another comment telling me how you applied one of these 3 principles in your real life. Did you use the perception principle to reframe a difficult situation? Did you practice the discipline of action when you didn't feel motivated? Did you use an obstacle as an opportunity to develop virtue? I want to hear your story because your experience might inspire someone else who's struggling. Marcus Aurelius never intended for us to read his private thoughts, but I'm grateful we can. His meditations remind us that inner strength isn't about being tough or emotionless. It's about being intentional with your thoughts, disciplined with your actions, and focused on what truly matters in the limited time we have. The next time you face a challenge, remember, you have power over your mind. You exist to serve something greater than yourself. And every obstacle is an opportunity to become stronger. That's not just ancient philosophy. That's a blueprint for living with unshakable inner strength in any era. Thanks for watching Daily Stoic Insights. I'll see you tomorrow with another dose of practical wisdom for modern life.